I think that right now we are at a stage where copying is okay. Dupes are okay. And not only have we as consumers allowed this because we purchase the dupes, we purchase the copies, but us as a society have also accepted that it is okay to copy. It is okay to take somebody else's ideas and claim them to be your own if it's for the profit or someone, and profit meaning either the person profits from selling something and you profit from using the thing. And I think it is something that we not only need to talk about as artists, as creatives, as designers, but it's something that we seriously need to question and to push back on as a society. So I give you a few examples of what I mean, even though you can, I'm sure you know. In fashion, for instance, you get a lot of companies that straight up look at other people's designs and copy those designs. And this has been a practice that's happened for a long time at this point. A lot of companies copy the designs of bigger fashion houses, of fashion companies overseas, of fashion companies in other cities that people didn't know or knew. And they got away with it because consumers wanted the thing at a fraction of the price. And we saw this with H&M. We saw this with Zara. We saw this with Sears. And then I'm talking about, like, I don't know why I said Sears, but I'm talking about bigger companies. But we saw this and we accepted because we wanted to wear the thing. I also worked in the fashion industry, and I actually had a lot of bad times because I was constantly telling people, constantly telling my bosses that I couldn't, what was the point of you hiring a designer if it was just to copy? And eventually I stopped doing design because I was based in Montreal and all the designs were copies that in the companies at which I was working. And I went towards the fashion illustration side where it was more freedom for me and I could still continue to work, but without feeling that that ick of doing this. So there's also something that happens when we're actually learning to design. And I went to landscape architecture school, and in landscape architecture school, there was this practice, and I'm sure it's still there in design school, to take references. And those references would become validations for the ideas that we had. And even though in a sense, when you're learning, it's very good to look at references, I think that what would happen is that a lot of times I felt like the only way that we could defend our project was to have examples of how it already happened. And over the years, I've noticed that a lot of projects resemble other people's projects. And those are projects that are actually getting made. And those are projects that are actually out. And I get it. Trends exist at all times. Like we could talk about, is it brutism with a lot of cement, a lot of concrete. We can talk about like different materials that are used at a certain time. Like for a while, green or eco or what is it? Green cotton. It's not the word green. But basically, the word just escapes me. But basically, like the cotton was green. We could talk about, I don't know, like a flower that's popular in design, right? And those get copied. But the thing is that when you take a design and you are in a different region and that design is used in that region, again, without the original idea behind the original designer, we kind of lose the essence of what the project is. And that's what has always bothered me, because projects have a history, design has a history, especially when something is rooted to the original person. It has their story behind it. And there was a book called Steal Like an Artist. And I want to say it's by Cleon. I always forget his name. That really got me. And this book was in the early 2000s. And I remember thinking that this book is for mediocre white men. It's for people who don't want to take the time to come out and actually build the muscles for art, for design, for creation, because it's a skill. Yes, some people are really talented at it, and we can tell, right? But a lot of people just learn the skill and continue to hone that skill over time. And yes, to go and look at other people as a reference and as you know, a means to not only justify yourself, but to learn about yourself is important. But we're never going to have the same experiences, never as humans. I don't care what you say. I mean, I don't have the same experiences, and you don't have the same experiences as your neighbors, as your cousins, as even your parents, right? And that's what we have to remember, that although we may share in cultures and we may share in ideas and we may share in everything that's related when it comes to daily living as individuals, which we are, we each have our own experience on this planet. And so for me, when I see people just blatantly copy other people in order to not only use the skills of that person, but also the livelihood of that person, also the essence of that person, it irks me. And I can't get over it. And I think that, not even I think, I know that for the longest time, this has stopped me from taking a lot of the best ideas that I've had and putting them in the world, because I've seen so much copying that I'm like, I approach my life with, I don't want this to be copied. If you look at my sketchbooks, when I look at my sketchbooks, I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, how does this idea still stand? And a lot of it I've done, a lot of it I've made, but I haven't made all of it. And so recently I've just been kind of like, the only way to know your art style is to create art. The only way to know your design style is to create designs. And for me, the only way for me to know my product and my home decor and my ceramic style is for me to create. Not spend hours online looking at what other people are doing, not spend hours online or hours looking at magazines. I don't really look at magazines, but I do look at references. I do look at books. That's not going to get me to know my art style. The only thing that's going to get me to know my style in these fields is to do the actual work. And I don't know. I mean, I guess there are tips for you finding your own style over time, but even that is fluid. What you're feeling today is not the same that you're going to be feeling in 10 years at all. What you feel in your 20s, it's not what you're going to feel in your 40s. And I'm pretty sure it's not what you're going to feel in your 60s or 80s. I don't think that we give that enough thought. The idea that art styles and design styles and creativity grows as you grow and changes as you change. I mean, I've questioned a lot whether or not I'm doing the right subject for many times. Like, I'm like, do I care to still do women? And thankfully, the answer has been yes, but I also know that I don't want to draw the same women I was drawing when I was 20. And that's okay, you know? And so I think that this was not the kind of video that I wanted to make. I wanted to kind of be like, well, you're going to have to work and get to it. But I think that this video, I wasn't even going to post it. I was just going to practice. But I think that this video is it. That's what's been bothering me. The fact that we act like creativity is not as important as tangible things. The fact that we act that art is not as important as tangible things. And so we don't give it the respect that we should in terms of respecting somebody's work and somebody's thoughts and somebody's process that they use in order to create the things that they make. And we just want that. And we just find that beautiful. But there is something behind it. And I think that we need to put more respect on its name. Anyway, that is my video for today. If you enjoyed my thoughts, please follow or leave me a message, leave a comment, or like this video. Thank you so much, and I'll see you soon.